If you would like to learn hand lettering but you're not really sure where to start, in this video I'm going to share some tips with you. Here's a variety of brush pens that I recommend, but we'll talk about them more in depth later on in the video. Crayola Super Tips are a brilliant pen when you're learning hand lettering. They're affordable, they're durable, and the tip has just the right amount of flex in it. The paper that you choose is also an important factor. Normal printer paper will work just fine, but I would recommend you get some cartridge paper or some smooth watercolour paper. I use textured watercolour paper a lot, and my pens end up damaged and I need to replace them from time to time, so if you can avoid doing that, then I would do. Some of the pens that I show in this video are water-based as well, so if you've got watercolour paper, you can blend the colours together and you can get some really lovely effects. So is it hand lettering or is it modern calligraphy? Well, there is a difference, but for the sake of today's video, we'll call it hand lettering. The fundamentals are practically the same. The two most important things to remember is to apply pressure for the downstrokes and lift the pressure for the upstrokes, so that you end up with a thicker line for your downstrokes and a thinner line for your upstrokes. This is a Tombow dual brush pen. This is water-based, so you can use this and blend it. It's easily blendable on watercolour paper, and it's dual tip, so you get a fine line as well. Before we start writing letters, I think it's really important to practice these strokes. It just gets your hand used to the motion of applying pressure for the downstrokes. I also wanted to talk about how I actually hold the pen. This is how I would hold a normal pen like a biro. But this is how I hold a brush pen, and that is so that the brush isn't perpendicular to the paper and it's at an angle. This helps us get the most from the brush tip and reduces damage. Once we've finished practicing downstrokes, and you can practice this as much as you feel comfortable, and this is the upstroke motion. It's just really soft, very gentle, hardly touching the paper at all actually. And again, it's just getting our hand used to just lifting for the upstrokes, and if you practice it enough, that applying pressure for downstrokes and lifting for upstrokes, yeah, eventually it'll just become a natural thing and just like second nature really. So I just drew some little arrows there just to remind us about the pressure. And at the end of the video, you're more than welcome to take a little screen grab, and then you can go and have a sit down with some paper and pens, and you can kind of have a look and see what is going on. So next we've got adding these two together. So this is a brilliant drill, again the next one that I do, a brilliant one to practice, especially going from the downstroke to the upstroke, which can be tricky to start with, but again it just takes a wee bit of practice. Sitting down, you know, for half an hour a day or 15 minutes a day, just practicing. It's actually a really good way to relax as well. For me anyway, it is. I'm sure it is for other people too, so a very good little hobby to have in my opinion. The pen I'm using here is a Tombow dual brush pen. You can actually get these in Hobbycraft. If you live in the UK, you can get them in Hobbycraft at the moment. You can also get them in Jeff Bezos' shop. He sells them. So that's the wiggly line. It's a really good one to practice, if I could get the lid on there properly. And then really there's only a few shapes that you actually need to learn to be able to complete the full alphabet. Well, there's more than a few. I'd say there's probably about 8 at a guess. So here is just an oval shape plus the downstroke equals an A. And then the same oval shape plus a loopy line equals a B. And then if you were to do the same loopy line with the oval shape but with the downstroke being on the opposite side of the O, you'd get a B. But I don't know if that's maybe too much information for our first video. I just wanted to include this in case you've already passed that first stage. Here I'm using a Pentel Sign pen. These are brilliant little pens. This particular pen, this one and the pink one, I use a lot, and they've lasted me. I've had these pens for about 8 years now. Here I'm just demonstrating what shapes can be added together to create a different letter. Just going back to the oval shape a minute, that's another shape you want to practice a lot because it's in a lot of the alphabet. turning around to the other side of the paper, the pen that I use next, this is a Pentel brush pen as well. It's a small brush pen. It's called a Pentel Sign pen. Brilliant little pen. And this is the Ecoline brush pen, which is a lot thicker. Probably takes a little bit more practice with this pen to get it right, but overall a very good brush pen. All Ecoline ones are. Same with the inks, they're what I've used for years. If you are interested in learning about how watercolour works in relation to lettering, I'd be more than happy to do a video on that. That is sort of more my area now anyway. So this is, I've already spoke about practicing this shape, but it is used in a lot of the alphabet as well, so it's a good one to practice. And I also did a little example of a sort of loopier O if you're feeling a bit more confident. This is how I do my O's. There's like 4 or 5 different ways to do an O. There's actually probably more than that, but you get to a point where you write down, it just happened one day where you write down a letter and you're like, oh, I like that, and then that'll be the way you do that letter for however long until you change it up a little bit. And even changing the way that you do an A or an O or a B, or putting a loop on an L or whichever, all these little changes are just what I love about lettering. It's just you can have so much fun, and you can just do what you think is, it's all, somebody might look at my work and think, oh, I don't like the way she does that, but if that's what you like, then that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, this is, it's for you, it's for something that, it's your creation, it's what you want to do. And here I'm just doing a few examples of how to do an F. I know the first and the third look very similar, but the first one has a bigger loop on it. So it's just to give, that's what I mean, like it's just, even just a slightest wee change can make such a big difference. And then some H's there. My H at the moment is kind of a mixture between the first one and the second one. And then also just demonstrating some different types of S's. I love that first S. I don't do that one anymore, and I'm not really sure why I actually changed. I can't remember what happened. I think it was because I started selling my work, and I think some people couldn't read the S, the first one, but it's all part of it, I guess. And then I just show the pens again. So the first one's a Pentel Sign pen, Ecoline brush pen, and the third one I've got in my hand is a Faber-Castell brush pen, which are really good as well. They come in a pack of like, I think it's 24 or something. And the fine liner that I used as well. And the Tombow Dual brush pen. I'll just do a little demonstration of the colour of this one. These pens come in so many different colours, and if you use them on the right paper, they last for ages as well. So they are worth the money, but I would say the Crayola Super Tip is a good place to start, especially when a lot of you will already have these pens in your house, so you can just have a little turn and see what you think. Then I'll just show you the orange Ecoline brush pen. These are so juicy, and they stay wet for quite a while, so if you do want to blend them, then you can do that as well. That just about wraps things up. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe as well. It really helps me out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.